Hey guys, I want to show you something very quickly. I've just invented something brand new. It's called the green screen device. Follow me outside because it's pretty big and it doesn't fit in my laboratory. This right here is the green screen device. So let me show you guys how the green screen device works. Oh no! Something is wrong with the green screen device. Let's go inside and figure this thing out. While I was running back inside, it struck me. The green screen device is working. It was meant to be that way. The explosion had to happen. And I want to show you guys inside Adobe After Effects how I did that. It's already inside my project panel, the green screen clip that you've just seen outside. When I'm going to double click on it, I can make a selection by using the in and the out point tools that we've seen prior as well. So let's start off with the green screen shot right here. I'm just standing in front of that green screen device. I'm going to set an in point right here with that button over there. Go a little bit forward in time here, the explosion happens, and then over here I'm going to set the out point. And I'm going to use this part here in my timeline. So I'm going to now just drag that clip into a new composition like so, and it will only use that selection that we've just made. All right, going back to my green screen clip here, double click onto it. Now what you just didn't saw outside was that we let the camera roll. As you can see here inside After Effects, if we're going to scrub a little bit forward in time, you can see that we just kind of cleared the shot. Here Janik is smiling, probably because I just told a great joke. But then right here, we can see that we have an empty shot. And that is always going to be super important if you are going to mix different elements together within the same shot. Also, super important is that you're going to film this from a tripod because we're going to blend two clips on top of each other. If one clip is moving and the other as well, they won't match. But if both of them sit on a tripod, they are static still and they will match perfectly on top of each other. So that's why we've got this empty shot right here. I'm going to set an in point as well, go forward in time and set an out point here somewhere to make a selection of that empty space. Then drag the green screen clip again to your timeline, but we're going to place that underneath the first green screen clip. And I see that the bottom one had to be a little bit longer here, so just take the outside over there and just trim that open to the right side. There we go. Now what we have right here now is the green screen shot with me into it, and an empty shot if I disable that layer for a moment, as you can see. So because this was shot on a tripod, these two shots match perfectly. Now for the convenience, I'm going to rename the clip on top green screen, and the clip below is going to called empty. There we go. Now what we are going to create is an explosion that happens behind me. So that means that we need multiple layers of the same shot. You know, we start off with me, then behind me comes the explosion, and behind the explosion comes the background shot. And that's why we had to work with the green screen, because I'm going to have to mask or key myself completely out so that I'm able to put the explosion behind me. Now before we are going to start by pulling off this green key, we are first going to mask out everything else that we don't need in this shot to make ourselves not only easy, but also else the green keying won't work. So with that top clip selected right here in the timeline, take your pen tool and draw on the inside of the green screen like so. And this can be done pretty roughly. There we go. Now if I'm going to disable the empty layer here below for a moment, you can see that I'm just masked out and that everything else here is black. To remove the green, we are going to need an effect called key light. And this can be found in our effects library here on the right side. Just search for key light and drag that effect that you can find over here onto your clip, the green screen clip. The key light is the most used effect to pull off a green key or blue key. Doesn't really matter, any key that you want to pull. But usually you want to work with a green screen because it's the least common color that appears in clothing. And of course, it also doesn't come back in skin tones or anything else like hair or something. Like for example, if you would pick a red key or a yellow key, well, those are colored things that come back in the skin tones, and that is going to give you problems. So it's best to go for a green or a blue key. And by the way, green screens are more sensitive to digital cameras, so those things will go easier. All right, within that effect, we can find a bunch of settings, but actually there's not that much that you need to know. The most important setting of all is this one right here, the screen color. Of course, you want to say with the color picker right here, click on it to select the green in our shot, like so. And by that, you're saying, this is the green, remove it. And already there, now you can see that the green has been removed. Now, it might seem that your green key went well, but there could be some problems. And to make sure that we are avoiding those problems, we are going to go back into the effects right here and set the view instead of final result right here. We're going to set that to screen matte. Just click on that, which will show you the matte of the key. Everything white is that we're going to keep, and everything black is what we're going to remove. So as you can see here in my t-shirt, Never Stop Learning, it's kind of visible there. So it's slightly being keyed out because blue sits pretty close to the green, or apple, C, green, blue, whatever, it's visible. So we're going to have to play a little bit with the settings in here. And right here we can find a setting called Screen Matte, which is exactly what we've selected over here. So by expanding that property, we can find a bunch of settings to further tweak the keying. And the first thing that I noticed is that the white is currently set pretty aggressive. 100 is the maximum value. So I'm going to click and drag that to the left to decrease the white, to make it less aggressive. And as you can see here, I am removing the selection of what was on my t-shirts. When you think you got a good selection, and by the way guys, I have no idea why this here is shown. It shouldn't be because I've got a mask. That is probably a bug within After Effects, don't mind that. Anyways, I'm going to go back to the view here and set it to final results. And let's have a look when I'm going to enable the empty layer back, how it looks. As you can see, there's this tiny edge around me, which shouldn't be there. So what I'm going to do here is jump into the screen shrink/grow, which allows us to kind of expand that edge around ourselves or decrease that edge around us. And I probably want to set that to somewhere around -3 so that it bites a little bit into me, and that way the edge is gone. And those were the only 2 tweaks that I had to do. And by the way, this was not shot on a special camera. It was a normal DSLR camera. If you make sure that you are outside, that there's plenty of daylight outside, that there are no wrinkles in your green screen, that you take some distance from your green screen as well, then the keying inside After Effects will actually go pretty smooth. All right, we already got 2 layers of our shot. We've got me and the background, or the empty. And this was only possible with a green screen. So now I'm going to import that explosion. Double click here in your project panel, and I'm going to go to stock. And I should have an explosion here somewhere. Fire explosion, there it is. And I'm going to drag this fire explosion now between me and the background. And that way we have the fire explosion sitting behind me, but the background is still in the background. So like we've seen before, change the blending mode of that fire explosion to something like add, for example, to make the explosion really bright. And I'm going to scale this one up as well so that it covers up the entire screen like so. And now I want to locate the point where I kind of make the movement of when the explosion should happen. You kind of see it at my face here. So somewhere right here where my arms go up, there the explosion should start. So from there I'm going to drag this clip here, the fire explosion, to the right. Holding down my shift key on the keyboard, I can make it snap to the playhead like so. Now let's render this out and see how it looks. The green screen device in action. Look how awesome that looks and how simple that was. This is one example of what you can do with a green screen. Super fun to work with. And that was it again for this lesson. Thank you so much for watching. In the next lesson, we are going to track some masks.